I'm a rabbit. Don't let walk on by. They come with all that innovation. What's up, Abba? Shout out to Lord Abba.
Trouble out of order right now, Brother Taharka.
What?
The trouble real high. I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Okay, I got you. Family, hold on tight. I'm trying to share the link. I would appreciate if y'all will help me share the link while we get everybody in the chat. I'm only going to be a few more minutes because we ain't going to go with no delay. We ain't going to go with no delay. I'm telling you, there's no more delay here. Give me a second. You know what I mean? I got it loud because I like the music. You know what I mean? But I turn it down so it can sound sort of official. But I got to get pumped up to deal with some of these pseudo brothers and sisters that might be up in the chat. I'm just saying. This is a sensitive mic here, so we should be all right in a minute. Can you hear that? Can you hear that, Ish?
I can hear you, but it's coming through. You're getting that scratch. You're getting that scratchy sound. So that means that it's too high. Your peaks are too high.
I mean, the music.
It's when, I'm hearing the scratch on both, but the chat room was saying that they could hear the same thing. The treble was too high.
Here we go. We gonna hook you up. We gonna hook you up. We gonna hook you up. It's the Taharka Bay. I'm on. Y'all ready? Check. Check. Well, family, we're gonna be like this and see what we got real quick.
Yeah, it's coming through now. I like that.
It's all right?
Yeah, that sounds a lot more smoother.
Say it again, brother.
Yeah, that sounds much better. Yes, sir.
All right. That's where brother Malik them at. Where they at? Give me like 2 minutes, family. 2 minutes. I'm coming in. I'm not even playing with y'all. Welcome to another edition of Moorish World TV.
You know, back in the day they had this John. They used to call it like walk.
Man, welcome to another edition of Moorish World TV. You know what I mean? Welcome to another edition of Moorish World TV. We want to try to get everybody in the chat. We got Malik in the chat now. I want everybody to mute their mics for a minute. You know what I mean? We want everybody in the chat to thumbs up. We want everybody in the chat to share this. This is going to be a serious conversation. Y'all see me dropping bombs, right? You know what I mean? Let's start the conversation. Everybody mute their mic. Real quick. Here we go. Let's go. Give me a minute. Come on, share the link. Bring them in. Nobody knows the trouble that we see. It's time to bring it home. Together, man. I gotta get these people up off my back, cause they don't know. Y'all ready? Y'all ain't ready. I'm ready. Man, shout out to the family. I'm going on Facebook for 2 minutes. Hey, brother Malik, hold on. Hold tight. Let me get the people on Facebook. And 2, get familiar Facebook. Get familiar Facebook. Hold up. Let me get my Facebook right. I ain't gonna rush me. I ain't rushing. I'm rushing, Rocket. I ain't rushing. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me see something. I'm trying to get it right. I hope y'all can see me. Matter of fact, I don't even want to do this one. I don't even want to do this one because I want to start the show. 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 Y'all ready? I ain't even going to do that. I want to start the show. Y'all ready to start the show? Family, it's time to start the show. I'm the Moor you're going to remember. I keep telling y'all think it's a game. It's not a game. We in the building. Brother Malik, Taharka Bay, Ishmael Bay, and we got 2 more coming. That's right. I'm telling y'all, it's not a game. It's not a game. I'm distorted. Hold up. If I'm distorted, we can't have that. Huh? Am I? Hold up. Let's stop for a minute. Am I distorted, family? Can y'all hear me good, family? Because if y'all can't hear me good, then we gotta make an adjustment. Okay, hold up. Hold up. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make an adjustment. Because I want everybody to get this. Hold up. I want everybody to get this. So I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do just like this. You know what I'm going to do? Play back. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here we go. I got you right.
We just lost your audio.
I'm back now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's right. I'm back. We're going to put this mic to the side for a second because this is for the other stuff that I do. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I need everybody to get in tune. Y'all ready? T-Duck in the building. Y'all ready? Rose B. Y'all ready? Let's do it like it's supposed to be done. Y'all ready? Let's go. I'm the Moor. I'm the one. I'm the one you gonna remember. Don't forget it. I'll be that Moor you gonna remember. I'ma be that Moor you gonna remember. That's right. I'll be that Moor you gonna remember. Taharka Bay, front line till the law call my number. I'll be that Moor you gonna remember. I'ma be that Moor you gonna remember. Let's throw that up, man. I'll be that Moor you gonna remember. Turn this out. Listen, call my number. Nothing you a friend of mine. I was told about the enemy, the whole those who speak against the prophet, they speak against me. And I speak about the prophet over who I lead. Who is the first to bind you and bind you back? Sumo rock, what's up, baby? That's right, fill up the chat. The more that you learn, it's not love to hate. But you need to learn to love. Let's get this. The same people talk. Never that. Hey. European here. Hey. But do the man that is there. Hands down. But they got a love for Europe. Oh, there it is. Take the field. United. United. Let's cut it off. Can y'all hear me? Let me see. Press 1 if y'all can hear me. Some of y'all might get distortion. But if you get distortion, come out and restart your demonstration again. We're going to get straight to it tonight because we let some time go past. I've been trying to get set up here. Let me tell you something, family. Let me tell you what I've been doing. Family, I've been on the concrete. I've been on the concrete. I've been hanging out with... Hey, I've been hanging out with the big ones. There's a big one here. Mama Fred Savage, there's a big one here. Man, I was banging out with the attorney, Malik Zulu Shabazz. Man, I don't know where y'all was at this weekend, but if you was in the tri-state area, Maryland, D.C., or Virginia, Delaware, Philadelphia, if you was in that area and you miss the 10 million man march, the 10 million man conference, the 10 million man convention,
the 10 million, everything in D.C. It was a whole week, almost a whole week. But I'm telling you, this weekend, it was on fire. And I'm saying that because I was there Saturday and Sunday. And when I say on fire, I mean on fire. I mean, had the likes of our good brother. Y'all know our good brother, Nzinga. Good goodness of gracious. Oh my goodness. The leader of the new Black Panther Party. You know, he I think he took over from Brother Malik, and Brother Malik came in after Dr. Khaled, man. I mean, those are some big shoes to fill, man. Man, we had man, good goodness of gracious. Who else was on that ticket, man? You know, let me tell you why my brain is boggled. My brain is like scrambled eggs. Man, because Brother Malik got on that stage. I'm trying to tell you, I don't know about anybody else. I can't speak for all the Moorish Americans. See, I'm going to get straight to it. You know what I mean? I'm going to get straight to it. I can't speak for all the Moorish Americans, but I know years ago, way back, I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America in the year of 1990. I was young, and I was hard-headed, and I would consider myself as a revolutionary. As you see on my Facebook posts, I have Moorish revolutionary. They say, who are you? I'm a Moorish revolutionary. That's what I used to go by, because I was always hyper. I was always ready to go in, always ready to battle with the brothers in the nation, battle with the Sunni brothers. Back then, the Dr. York brothers, you know, I was always ready to battle and defend the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I was just set in defense of the gospel. And I tell you, when I came across this tape, see, they had tapes then. Y'all young people don't know, but they had these things called tapes. And I would hear Dr. Khalid Muhammad's speeches. I would hear him talk about her with cock a pistol. She had a shotgun. I would hear Dr. Khalid say things like, Big Bubba wouldn't turn around and putting Big Bubba in the ground. You know, I would hear things like Dr. Khalid Muhammad would say, he would get in the debate, and he had that one where he said he would shoot in the ground and dig them up and shoot again. And he dig them up, shoot again. He said, because it didn't die hard enough. But I would start listening to that, and you know, Moorish Americans got a certain decor. You know, I gotta say the same thing, but in an intellectual or conservative way, because that's how I was taught. But man, Dr. Khalid, he just did something to my spirit. I mean, goodness of grace. But my point is, when Brother Malik got on that stage this weekend, that wasn't no Brother Malik for me. I don't care what nobody say. That wasn't no Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz. I just got called it how it is. That was Dr. Khalid Muhammad. To the T. Dr. Khalid Muhammad. That's what Dr. Khalid would have did. That's what he would have said concerning Trump. It is what it is. I give it to you how it is. Anyway, it was a beautiful weekend, family. I wish you could have been there. However, I got the permission from my brother to stream the highlights here on Moorish World TV. So if you haven't seen it on Facebook, I'm going to stream some here, and I'm going to direct you straight back to Facebook so you can look at the whole thing. Man, you say, what did he say? I want you to keep watching. After this show, I am going to upload it right here. After this, matter of fact, I'm going to live stream it. You know what I mean? I'm going to live stream it right here. What did he say? You want to know what he said? Woo! Come get me. Elizabeth, come get me. Hey, I'm not going to tell you what he said. I'm going to show you right here. We're going to run it live stream right here. Because I got the setup. See, I got the setup. Anyway. Also tonight, we got brother Malik Zulu Shabazz. We got our brother Ishmael Bey. We got our brother Mustafa Ansari. We also have Nzinga, Hashim Nzinga. And we're waiting for them to come in now because we're going to have a serious talk. Now, let me say, I want to take about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Fam, can I take 3 minutes? Let me take about 3-4 minutes. I just want to take 3-4 minutes and address a few things. Just a few things. I just want to address a few things. First of all, I rise and give praise to the great God of the universal law. I give honor to his noble, illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to Marcus Garvey. You know Marcus Garvey, one of the greatest organizers we have ever seen. I give honor to Marcus Garvey. But let me just take about a few minutes to address a few things. All of a sudden, every Moorish American that think that they have a government want to come out the woodwork. All of a sudden, they see me and Brother Ish talking to the brother, politicking with the sisters, planning with the family, the Black Power family, and as Ish just put in the chat, up jump the boogie. Now everybody want to come to the table, but they want to come to the table not with solutions. They want to come to the table and say, look how big my fez is. We have a government here called USAR. We already doing this. I say you're not. They say, well, Brother Taharka, you spoke against this. No, I spoke against Pseudo. I spoke against lies. I haven't spoken against anything legitimate. USAR, United States American Republic, under the leadership of C. Cannon Bay, is not a legitimate set aside government. It's not legitimate. And we're going to show you tonight how to set up a legitimate government. Soon as Dr. Ansari come in here, we're going to show you how to set up a legitimate government. Because there's steps to this. You don't go and file an LLC or a non-profit and put a name on it called USAR and say governments are corporations and now all of a sudden you have a government. It don't work like that. It never did, it never will. You know what I mean? And so we're going to teach that tonight. We're going to break that down tonight. Brother Ansari just came in the building and he's going to show you how you go to step by step to create a legal standing government. Not a business. Although government is business, but not a LLC. Not a 501c3, a real government that competes with other governments, that interface with other governments, that work and send delegates to other governments, that rises from amongst ourselves and turns us into a functioning nation. We got him in the building. That's right, attorney, Dr. Mustafa Ansari. He's in the building. Also, so all of these brothers, and I'm gonna be finishing in like 2 seconds, 2 minutes. All of these brothers, right, that's running around masquerading as thinking that they're governments. Elihu Pleasant Bay, he called himself the Moorish American government. You just because you write some form of constitution, just because you go sit up in the United Nations, just because you write some form of proclamation, man, anybody can get on a computer and do that and then go sit up in the United Nations and rub shoulders, shake hands, and send them some paper. Dr. Mustafa Ansari, he does it all the time. Matter of fact, he was passing out papers so everybody could sign so he could get the ball rolling. What am I saying? Man, just because you write up a piece of paper and claim to be a government don't make you a government. There's process. There's a process to it. There's a process to it, and the brother is going to show you the process if you want to be educated. Only if you want to be educated. Then if you don't want to be educated, this ain't your show. If you're not about the unity of our people, this ain't your show. So with that, that's enough for the intro. I ask everybody to pass the link. I ask everybody to give this to people who really want to learn what unity about, what government about, what liberation is about. And most of all, what revolution is about. And when I'm speaking of revolution, we're talking about change. What real change is about. We're not talking about in this age of internet and social media. We're talking about real change. With that, let me let my brother Malik Zulu Shabazz come in and introduce himself. Tell you a little bit about himself. Brother Malik, I hope you got time to stick around because I want people to get who you really are, brother. You walk with one of my great heroes, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Now, Moors might say, man, you mentioned Dr. Man, I love Dr. Khalid Muhammad. He the one that give me my fire and my passion. So it is what it is. So, brother, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much.
And don't be humble. Go all the way in.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you well, brother.
All right, greetings in Islam to all my brothers and sisters in the Moorish nation and from the Moorish Science Temple and throughout the wilderness of North America, all of our people. My name is Malik Zulu Shabazz. I'm a lifetime struggle for the liberation of our people. I have been organizing since I was in college. I've been for 3 straight decades. Starting April 1988, I have been trying to bring unity and liberation to our people. I have served as the student assistant, national spokesman, Million Youth March organizer, and New Black Panther Party successor to my mentor, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And so I want to say, just like Dr. Khalid Muhammad said, I say starting off this broadcast, I'm a Moor too. I am an attorney. I practice law in state and I practice law in federal courts around America. I am in the process of being trained on human rights and self-determination and nationalization and decolonization law with the American Institute of Human Rights. I am also an ally to the Lost Foundation of Islam and the pioneering human rights work in the United Nations of the Honorable Silas Muhammad. At other points in times, I've served in positions with Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I run my own operations also. And so I want to say, as we start this dialogue off, I want to agree with you, brother. It was a great weekend. It was a great 5-day convention. It was a historic convention for many reasons, and the reasons are just being now unveiled. We had 30 or 40 presenters. Can you still hear me? Great, want to make sure I'm still on. We had 30 or 40 presenters. We had 30 or 40 organizations, and now up to 100 are contacting us from around the country and around the world. What I'm doing, brothers and sisters who are Moors, is I'm bringing about one of the principles of the Prophet. I want to say, peace be unto the Prophet of Islam, Noble Drew Ali. Peace be upon him. And he speaks in one of his principles about unity. And that's what I'm working on. Our convention was about bringing those groups together so that they can know one another and appreciate one another and understand that our commonalities outweigh our differences. Nation of Islam under Silas Muhammad was there. There was Nation of Islam with Louis Farrakhan there. There were persons who have followed the way of Imam Wafiuddin Muhammad, or who say they're Sunni Muslims. There were Christian brothers and sisters there, Black nationalists, Pan-Africanists, and just many brothers and sisters. And we all came together. That is my job right now. I am a facilitator. I am a diplomat that is reaching out to all of the kings, all of the queens, all of the tribal leaders, and coming in the name of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey to say one God, one aim, and one destiny. That is my job. One God, one aim, one destiny, pulling us together, and then pulling us with experts like you will hear Dr. Mustafa Ansari. I'm specifically talking here to Moors. For years and years, we Moors are into sovereignty. For years and years, Moors are into nationality. For years and years, Moors, you have even said, we're not Black, because Black does not give you nationality. It does not give you jurisdiction and cannot get you legal action as a nation. We want to address that tonight. We want to address our Moorish brothers and sisters and those of us who teach Black and our attorneys and want to let you know that I believe historically that we may find some common ground tonight. We want to understand what you to understand what I mean and what Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad means when we use the term black. And we also want you to understand that we understand that there are some legal limitations on the word black. And we understand your arguments when you say that there is no black land and it has to be tied to a nation state. We want to reason with you tonight, Moors. All of you Moors who have set up separate governments and other governments, some of them I don't know and I don't want to mischaracterize them. I'll take on face value all of your intentions as being sincere, that you want sovereignty and independence. Let me tell you why first that we have chose to engage and we have confidence in Brother Taharka Bey and Ishmael Bey. And they are our ambassadors and our guides to the Moors. Why? Well, you say, I don't like Taharka Bey because he attacked my nation. He attacked my government. Let me say this to the Moors, my dear Moorish science brothers and sisters. It is 2018, and we have to now come to the point where the Moors have to have some form of united representation so that you all can sit down and negotiate in dialogue with the other tribes and nations so that we can reach a common agreement. We have to know who represents the Moors. Which Moor? I'm not joking with y'all, but we want to know, is this a million Moor leadership march? One sultan here, another sultan here, another group. I couldn't figure out all the Moors to engage, so I got to go with the ones who understand the black nationalists and the Pan-Africanists best. Brother Ishmael Bey knows Nation of Islam teaching and science. He knows Black Panther teaching and science. He knows Dr. Khalid Muhammad. He knows us. He knows the Moorish teaching. He knows what unites us and what could divide us. We depend on Taharka Bey and Ishmael Bey as our guides. And we're asking you all to work with them and even through them so we can talk about something historic that we're doing in this hour as our cause goes before the world and the world courts, and we want to move as a united body. So we have chosen these men because they love us. They don't always agree with everything, but so much do what they agree on. And they are the right men to dialogue with. We've chosen them. We have confidence in them. We're asking the Moors, put aside your differences. Put aside your differences. All of the Moors, it's time now that y'all got to settle your differences. The black nationalists are settling their differences. The Pan-Africanists are settling our differences. So as I move the dialogue, I want every Moor to understand first, when you hear us say black power, when you hear me say black lawyers for justice, Black Panther Party, black nationalists, we want you to understand that black for us does not mean what the Christian codes taught. Black for us does not mean what Black's legal dictionary said. It does not mean what the European taught. We have a human right and a divine right under self-determination in Kuji-Chagulia to redefine ourselves. We have, in the course of our struggle in the 1960s, redefined what black means. We are not here to say to you that black is an adequate legal or jurisdictional definition that we could take to the world, that we could take to the world courts. We're not going to tell you that. But we are going to say that black is an appropriate, even if you don't choose to use it, it is still an appropriate racial, social, and cultural term that defines our people. One of our greatest scholars, Dr. Maulana Karinga, he teaches us that the word black means, now that we have redefined it, meaning we don't have to accept what the white man says. We have redefined black as color, culture, and consciousness. Color, skin color, culture, all of our rich and diverse and broad original and aboriginal culture, consciousness, where our minds and state of mind is, and Dr. Khalid Muhammad added color, culture, consciousness, and connection to our creator, how we hook up with our God and our divine essence and being. So black means to us color, culture, consciousness, a connection to our creator. Black means to us original. Black means to us, as redefined by Elijah, it means makeup, it means Asiatic, and hope you're not offended, black man. Asiatic, I know you like that. Black man, maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe. Black also means God. Black also means original. These are cultural and social, even spiritual terms. But we recognize more. We recognize that there is no black land. We recognize that black is not a term that you can take legally. And so now the dialogue has begun. The Honorable Silas Muhammad has sat with 17 nations and others. And I can tell you, as I travel throughout South America and others, when you get on the ground and you ask them as original people and Asiatics, who are you, people in Colombia? They say, we are Afro-descendants. There is a legal terminology in a movement that is developing that has agreed on our national identity. And then we're going to go further tonight. If you don't have a nation, and if you're a colonized people, or if you're a formerly enslaved people, or if you're a dispossessed people, what is your title? What is your status? We're going to get into this status and this title thing tonight. So I want to open up. I want to say, all of y'all, give me an open ear, Moors. Give us some open ear. Let's dialogue and talk. We want to talk, dialogue. We will travel and sit with you. But most of all, we love you. I've never met a Moor that was a dummy. I never met Moors. Many of you Moors need to know, as I conclude, I once was indoctrinated and worked with the Shahada Moors and another Taharka Bey. Another Taharka Bey was one of my mentors from California in college. I used to make salat when I learned my salat and my protocols of Islam, and the Shahada Moors took me out, and we would make our salat, and then we would get in a circle. We would stand in a circle, and we would recite teachings, and they would teach me of the Moorish science teachings, and I would build with them, and I've been through that training. Love, peace, unity, and respect to all of y'all. I'm happy to be a part of this last weekend. It's the beginning of self-determination for us, beginning to a whole new process. Thank you, and Islam to you. Islam to you right here. I'm right here. I'm your brother. Give me a fair chance, Moors, as we open up this dialogue.
Indeed, indeed, family. And I want all the Moorish Americans to know that we are a diverse people. And in order for us to achieve anything, it's something like my former Grand Sheik told me, my friend and my brother, the Grand Governor of Maryland, George Turner L., told me one time, sometimes we fight so much to be understood that we don't understand. We need to try to understand instead of trying to be understood sometimes. In order for us to have a conversation, let's try to understand, because this is a conversation. And let me say, the views on this show is not necessarily a reflection. What people may say on this show is not an endorsement of Moorish World TV. This is a dialogue. This is a free, open dialogue to try to get to some common ground. That's what it is. So don't nobody come calling me, keep texting me all day tomorrow, but Brother Malik said this, Mustafa said this, and you said this. It is a dialogue. And when we grow up as a people, we understand that we do not maybe see everything alike, and it's okay. With that, let me bring my brother Ishmael Bey in the chat, my brother, my friend, and comrade. What's up, my brother? Where you at? Come on now.
Peace and blessings to you, Brother Taharka.
Peace and love,
There's an echo in there, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
you
we'll
good?
get it right. All right. I definitely want to thank you for having me on Moor TV this evening. Malik Zulu Shabazz. I'd like to welcome Malik Zulu Shabazz to the show and Dr. Mustafa Ansari to the show also. And of course, I'd like to say greetings to your listening audience. This weekend we had a great weekend. Very powerful people. And I learned a lot. It's always humbling to be around such great minds and great leaders. And I think that we take something away that will make us to grow into great leaders also. Brother Taharka Bey, I'm very proud of you. You wrote Bourgeois exquisite. And I'd like to say that the form that you created and the platform that you created with Moorish World TV is very, very important. So I want to salute you for that. You know, self-determination. That's what we're focusing on right now, self-determination. And I think the most important part of self-determination is us really taking the reins and taking back that which was taken from us. And that's what we're focusing on right now. As we pointed that out with the reparations part of our presentation, we dealt with the first thing that was taken from us through the process of chattel slavery, and that was nationality. You know, so since that was the first thing that was taken away from us, that has to be the first thing that we take back is our nationality. The second thing that they would take away was, of course, our names, and they would take away our manhood. So as men, we all got together and we all put this on the table. And also want to thank the beautiful sisters that came out to support us, even the ones that couldn't even physically attend, just the ones that gave us encouragement, and those that assisted with funds, and those who assisted with just being there in spirit. Because of course the divine balance was definitely in the house. So I definitely want to thank the sisters for their support of just making sure that the men could get there to the city. And it was a beautiful thing just to know that we were able to take care of business and that we had the full support of the whole family. I also like to say that, you know, the talent that we're bringing to the Moors and dealing with this particular topic is so very important. When you have Dr. Ansari coming in and him lending his talents and him lending his time to come and give us some insight of how things work and operate on a United Nations level, that's something that we really cannot take for granted. And that's something that we should not exploit. And even attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, you know, these gentlemen, their time is very important, just like all of our times are very important. I don't waste time. That's one thing I never waste, because that's something I can't get back. So, you know, frivolous conversations and dilly-dally, I'll let you know right now, I'm in my 50s. I don't got no time for it. I don't even waste time with it. So let's make sure that we're taking advantage of the times that we have. And right now, a lot of us are in our peak. We're in our peak of our mental capability, our spiritual development, our abilities to network amongst one another. Sooner or later, we'll be going on that decline. But right now, I'm at the top of my game right now. You know, we got the time and the money and the ability to really take care of things. So let's make sure that we're taking advantage of this, and we all meet as family, as brothers and sisters, and we all keep on moving forward so we can get this nationality thing all taken care of. And we're going to make sure we put on all of our diplomatic hats and make that happen. So thank you again, Brother Taharka, for having us this evening. Your mic was turned off, but I can't hear you.
Indeed. Peace and love, family. I had to unmute myself. What I was trying to do was I'm trying to set up the next few things that we're going to do, because we got a giant in the building. We got a brother that really, I mean, last year we had been talking to do a show. I don't know what happened. We got busy or something like that, or I don't know what happened. But Dr. Mustafa Ansari, I'm telling you, I sit and listen to the brother on the stage and the sister that was with him on the stage. What this brother brings to the table is the spirit of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's program without saying the name. I'm telling you, it is what it is. Now, I don't want y'all to think for 1 second that I am mixing him up into some social media madness or YouTube conscious community madness. I don't want y'all to think that. Only thing I'm trying to do is to bring clarification so we can get to the destination. That's it. So the questions that I'm asking this brother, he is a qualified professional. He is not one of those YouTubers, a conscious community brother. He is an on-the-ground attorney, human rights attorney, qualified professional. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. So when I mention these other groups and these other setups, I'm only doing it for clarification so we can get to the destination. Please don't take offense. If we go to be men and women, we need facts. The truth shall set us free. And this brother brings a truth that is unparalleled to what I've heard, as it relates to sovereignty. And when I speak of sovereignty, I want y'all to hear me right. At some point in time, the Moorish American will pull away from this oppressor. At some point in time. It depends upon us. We will take back with ours. I'm going to tell you, y'all don't understand. And y'all pay attention, listen to this brother, because I'm going to give him some of them questions from what he delivered so you'll know what I'm talking about. And with that, I'll let him bring himself, introduce himself, and say a little about himself, and then we'll start and keep it moving. Please share this with your friend next to your friend. This is a very important show that y'all need to really see so you can understand what unity is about, what building the nation is all about. With that, my brother and friend, Dr. Mustafa Ansari. Are you there, my brother? Let me see if I can't hear the brother. Let me unmute. You got to unmute your mic. See if I can unmute you. Yeah, he just got to unmute his mic and we good to go. Yeah, fine. Let me see if I can unmute it over here. Let me see if I can unmute it over here. Let me see if I can unmute you over here. Unmute Ishmael. Dr. Ansari. Yeah, I think you unmuted. We can't hear you, brother. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We can't hear you. I think he's going to come out and try to come back in. With that being said, hold up. Okay. With that being said, let the brother come back out and come back in. I can't. You muted too, brother Malik. Dr. Ansari. I can't hear anybody. Oh my goodness. What they did?
Am I coming through? Can you hear me?
You coming through. But I can't hear Malik. Nor can I hear Dr. Ansari.
I think Brother Malik and Brother Ansari, I think y'all need to get with Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and then maybe we'll be able to hear you on our show.
Y'all gotta proclaim y'all nationality, man. Y'all messing up, man. Hey, bro, listen to. Okay, let me look at some of the chat. Let me see. Hey, it say we maybe can use the existing Fed-wide birth certificate account. See, we still talk about trust if we talk about accounts. Here we go. Hey, I don't know what's going on, family, but man, I really need to get Dr. Ansari up on this feed by any means necessary.
Yes, we can hear you, brother.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Brother Malik, you might have to do the same thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Malik was in, so I don't know what happened with that. So, Brother Ansari, as I said, brother, come in, introduce yourself. And if the other guests don't mind, I want to run around the questions for you before you before you unload. You know what I mean? Because brother, you can unload, brother. I was there. I seen it. I seen it. And brother, which when you unload, don't nothing but diamonds come off back of that dump truck. So first of all, my brother, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Let people know who you are, your qualifications, your credentials, and your experience in the area of human rights, as well as, you know, the interest of developing a nation. Let the people know who you are, my brother. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother. I really love the Moors. And so I just greet everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Mustafa Ansari. I am a doctor of jurisprudence. I went to various law schools, and I've been practicing and an educator for over 20 years. I'm a law professor, and I teach international law. I have a Human Rights Institute, and I have a great love for my people. And believe me, I understood that I was going to be here in front of the Moors because they are the closest amongst all our people to the understanding of nationalism. And they have been reaching and trying and prodding and moving along to obtain that. So those are my qualifications. Those are my intentions. I'm a Muslim. I was, in fact, I became a Muslim in Morocco, which is a very different thing. When I was 20 years old, very curious person. Excuse me. And so I'm a practicing Muslim, and I greet everyone in the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, brother.
You can mute me.
Malik,
mute my mic. Mute my mic, please. I'm back, but mute me.
Okay. So walaikum salam, my brother. So first of all, brother, within the Moorish culture, and I'm gonna call it the Moorish culture or Moorish paradigm, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to the Moors in 1913 AD with a cry, letting us know that we are not Negro, Black, or colored for the express purpose for identification. And I always like to say self-identification. You know, a lot of people would try to say that, well, the Greeks came up with the term Moor, but in actuality, when they came to the peninsula, these were the Maori people. They were the Maori people when they came to the peninsula. That's another story. Anyway, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali designates this by the will of Allah that we pull away from that so we can have basically some sort of connection to our ancient ancestors on the other waters, as on the other side of the water of the Atlantic, as well as here. We're saying that the people that travel here, they were of Moorish blood, if you will. You know what I'm saying? They were all the same people, from the Olmecs, from the brothers and sisters from the Mali Empire. They were all the same blood. From ancient Kemet, they was all of the same blood. And so the Prophet designates the term by the will of Allah, Moor, and we come to see that, Moorish, and we come to see that when you look at the United Nations and you try to establish any legal standing as a nation, every nation up there has some sort of nationality to identify who they are and a flag to go with that nationality, whether they have land or not. They have a nationality, whether it be the Palestinians with the PLO, and they're just an organization, but they recognize there's a nation in the United Nations, but they don't have the land because we already know what happened there. That's a story. That's another story. Anyway, the point of the matter is that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brings this into existence. So let me speed it up a little bit. He brings this ideal into existence in the hearts and minds of our people over here in North America. So now today we have a lot of Moorish groups that feel as though they are establishing governments. So one of the things that's very important, and I'm not attacking any of these groups. Like I say, I want to just get to the facts. One of the things that I need to establish, first and foremost, to establish a government, a legal standing government that is on equal footings with the families of nations. And when I say families of nations, we're talking about every nation that's on the United Nations recognized. Those who are not and that seek to be recognized. But I'm just talking about equal footing on as according to families of nations. Brother, in short, can you tell me the process, maybe a 1 to 5 step process in short? How does that work?
All right. I urge everyone to grab a pencil because I'm a law professor and an educator. So we're going to do this in I like to do it in a structured way. First, I want you to jot down the Montevideo Convention of 1933. And a convention is an understanding, sort of like a treaty, but it usually contains more parties than 1 or 2, although there's multi-state treaties. But a convention is an agreement among nations as to a certain issue. And the Montevideo Convention entails the elements of nations, of nationalism. And the first one, number 1, is a properly defined people. Number 2, I'll give you a chance to write that down. A properly defined people. Number 2 is a territory, although I'll put an exception there because on the way to nationhood, there may be a situation where you have non-territorial self-determination, which is a nation, but it's a quasi step. And so that may be a small exception. The other elements is that you have to have a government. Now, when we talk about establishing a government, the major thing, and this is what we were doing on Sunday and have been doing, and is that you have to have consent of the people. That's the major thing in having a government. I mean, you can have a monarchy without having consent, but monarchies are very difficult to get through the United Nations because the United Nations, in order to make it facile to get through, they want to know that your government is democratic. So consensus is a major human right element. And the reason why is that God has given man, in fact, this is the essence of human rights. God has given man free will. And you can't give over your free will without consent. This is why we have elections all over. And you have elections every time there's a major a change in government or a major election of a representative, because consent is the ultimate and first step into having government. So what we have devised for the Confederated Nation is a declaration of consent of self-determination. Once you have consent, that's the first step. The second thing is the formation of the nation and the government. The first step in doing a government should have a court system. Put that down, court system. And it doesn't have to be like as codified and as extensive as the American court system. Of course, they didn't start off like this. And in fact, what we're starting off with is what Dr. Yusuf Clyde was my teacher. And he just started off with family codes, divorce, family law, a marriage, child support, child custody, divorces, a regulation of the family. That's very important. So what I would suggest is that we have a way to do that, and we have a codified way that we're doing for our Confederated Nation, and that just deals with family law, not criminal law, Not corporate law, anything like that. You don't have to start off that extensive. So, but you should be able to regulate your family. That's the most important thing. So we started off with just the family law code. And so we have a family law code. The next thing is that you should have a police a force or standing defense to this is another attribute of nationhood. So excuse me. The fourth thing is that you should have recognition by one or two third party nations.
Stop right there, brother.
Sure.
When you said being recognized by one or two third-party nations, what does that constitute? How does that work? Is it that we're recognized because we say it, or is it some relationship that's established? And then carry on what you were saying. Sorry to cut your thought. I might cut you off a little bit because there's certain points that I want to hit that we understand that if we're going to move as a unit, then we need to be right. We need to be right. And brother, you got the precise information so we can move right. Come on, brother.
You know what? I'm actually surprised that you stopped me there, because this United States, when it's in its infancy, the first third-party government that recognized them was Morocco.
That's right.
Is this a trick question?
What it is, my brother, is this. What it is this. Brothers are running around on the internet in this era of social media, and they coming up with these constitutions. We got some old ones, we got some young ones. They coming up with these constitutions. They changing constitutions, Moorish American government. They call Moorish American government. They change the words to this, and they say this is their constitution. Then you have the USAR, United States of America Republic. They write a constitution, get a Weebly website, and they say that they're a government. And so when I stopped you right there is because I haven't seen any of the things that I've seen from birthed nations happen with these YouTube era, social media era claiming to be governments. So I wanted to make that clear, that you have to have certain things in place for it to be recognized, or for it to be a legal standing government and respected as a people that's striving for self-determination, and then i.e. nation, government, etc. That's why I stopped it there, just so the people can know that none of these things have happened. Because I don't want to get people caught up into this fictitious idea that somebody can come up with a Weebly website, claim to be a government, create seals, put up fake police cars, create fake IDs, and now the young people thinking they so thirsty to be helped, to be saved and be free. Now they run to it and they run around claiming they're a government. And at the end of the day, they get themselves murdered by these crazy police.
Exactly. Well, one of the services, I'm put a plug in here because it's what we do. We understand that exactly. And so what we do is we perfect unperfected government. So what everyone is getting now is like a free introductory course into how we go about perfecting governments, because they have some of the steps, but some of the steps are out of place. In fact, a constitutional government is like the fifth step. And I'll explain how we're doing it here. We have obtained consent. The next step is that we're going to, which is a declaratory government. Once you get the declaration of consent to be a part of a government, you have at that point a declaratory government, because consent is the main ingredient to obtaining governance over people, because they gave up to you their consent to do so. So at that point, you're a declaratory government. So from a declaratory government, we're going to an interim government. An interim government is selected, not elected. So it's still kind of imperfect, because the most perfect government, and this is why going all the way to the fifth step, which is constitutional government. That's the perfected government. But you got to. It's the usual course is to go through these steps. So from the interim government, you go to at that point, the interim government has a duty to actually put into place a apparatus of election. Again, we go back to consent because an election is consent. So, so the interim government, it's one of its main duties is to hold a democratic ballot. That's the next thing. So once so the democratic ballot, it allows at that point whoever's elected to come in parliament.
Hey, brother,
when they
can you explain real quick? Hold your thought. Can you explain real quick what a democratic ballot is? Because a lot of Moors, and I'm telling you, I'm coming from a Moorish thought just so we can bring clarification. A lot of Moors says that the original form of government was a Republican form of government, and now it was hijacked by the Democratic form of government. And so, can you please just give clarification? What do you mean by democratic? I know what you mean. I know you're not talking about a restrictive sense. I hope not. I think you're talking about the more balanced sense of what the word democracy really means, not as a party. But anyway, now I don't want to lead you into the question, but you understand what I'm saying. What do you mean by that?
Well, point of clarification: a Republican form of government can be a democratic form of government. In fact, the United States is a republic. It's a Republican form of government. And it's democratic in the sense that you have to vote. A democratic form is one man, one vote. That's the most purest form of a democratic government. One man, one vote. And whatever the majority, mathematical majority is, that issue or that election is resolved in that favor. So that's democracy. That's the highest and that's the most acceptable type of government to be able to navigate its way through the United Nations. And this is the way that we are navigating the Confederation through Confederated Nations through the United Nations, because we're doing everything democratically. Whatever the mathematics is, whatever the mathematics of the vote is. So once a Democratic Parliament is seated, then the duty of that Democratic Party is to go into assembly. And that assembly, they go into there until they come out with a constitution. And they, how long it takes, the Constitution regulates the conduct of the country. So they come out with a constitution, and at that point, you have met the requirement for almost a accepted government, except for the element of being recognized by third parties. And because the brothers in the United States don't travel to the extent or don't use the diplomatic avenues to the extent and have the ability to persuade a third country to recognize them, they usually don't have this element. Now, we have devised a way to give governments like the Moors, the unperfected government, and other unperfected governments, we have a way to fulfill that element in several ways. But the most important ways, and this is why all the Moors should have a peace treaty amongst them. And the peace treaty that we have is our structure of government, which is a confederation, which is basically a peace treaty with collaborative terms. A confederation allows everyone or every nation, even unperfected nations, to sit as a member and still conduct their business as they have been, and so on and so forth. But they agree to a collaborative federal government that would oversee the issues, whatever those issues are, that the Confederations decides to allow a overseeing part, a federalism part, to deal with those issues. It's like just like the United States, they have a federal government, and the states have they can do what they want within the state power, but then there's the federal power, and certain things that like interstate transportation or some type of crime that goes across borders, there's an agreement that the federal government would deal with those issues. Well, the confederated government is structured very similar to that type of federalism. Now, when you have that, every nation, even if it's an unperfected nation, recognizes each other, and the Confederation recognizes them. So our recognitions are pretty much fulfilled because if we have 100 Moorish nations, or a mixed bag of Moorish, Muslim, Christian folks that want self-determination, and they agree and they sit as a confederated member, that's a recognition of the Confederation. And reciprocally, that's a recognition of that particular government. So that's pretty much satisfies the recognition. But of course, because every country, not every country, but many countries in the United Nations are very interested in what we do here in the United States because of our power, because of not our power, because we just coagulating power, but because of the fact that we're in a superpower, and because we have a unique identity as being an indigenous people, because we were, and you were quite right, all of the Moors, as you call them, and they have various names for themselves, but all of the melanated people in North Central South America, Polynesia, the islands, and of course in Africa and Australia, even and in Indonesia and Micronesia, these are all part of the same family. So a close part of the same family, because we are very old people. In fact, the Caucasian person didn't appear until about 65,000 to some say as early as late as 30,000 years ago, and we've been here for millions of years. So these countries have a particular fondness, and I don't know what the reason is, but they have a fondness for our people. So a number of them are ready and willing when it's appropriate time to recognize us. And this is why, and the appropriate time is going to be based upon these factors, because we live in a superpower. And even though they don't like the superpower, they respect the power, of course. So until we gain that power, like a fledgling nation, Moorish nation, or any other nation, couldn't expect a third party nation to recognize them, because that wouldn't be wise for them, because now you're starting a ruckus over a very minute entity. So that's not going to work. But the fact that we have a confederation of 100, 200, 300 nations that have confederated, that's great power. And that's what we're doing with the Confederation. And that's why we urge the Moors, no matter what squabbles that they have now, to sit in membership with us, because it only takes consent, a document to say that we want to sit in confederation. This allows you to have our power, the power of our attorneys, power of our erudition, the power of our collaboration, and our ability to move this confederation through the United Nations. And in fact,
So, Dr. Ansari, now some people may say, well, you know, does that put them in a position where as though Moorish Americans are very strict to the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali? I know I am. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says that we are Moorish American. How does that affect Moors who are such as myself? I ain't letting go to teach of the prophet. I know he was a divine prophet, and I know my nationality is Moorish American. What about those who say, well, listen, I'm a Moorish American? You know what I mean? I know the format of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I know how it's supposed to be instituted. How can I work with you? But I ain't letting this go because I know how this supposed to go.
Well, you don't have to let it go. In fact, we're such a diverse people. We don't even bother with that. We have Black Indians, we have Muslims, different types of Muslims. We have Moors, we have Christians, we have Hebrew Israelites. If you don't let go of your cultural identity to confederate, you still do exactly what you have been doing before. What you're doing is adding power to what you do and an ability to do it even better.
All right, real quick, then I'll pass to Dr. My brother Malik Zulu Shabazz. What I'm saying is that a Moorish American, Moorish American is going to stand firm and say, listen, I'm a Moorish American. I'm not letting that go. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, okay, you don't let that go. But what they're referring to is a Moorish nation, not just a cultural identity. They're referring that this is a legal term, being a Moorish American and developing a nation for Moors, a Moorish nation that identify with the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, with all the cultural and traditions that go with the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, teachings and lessons. Now you say you have quote unquote Black Indians. You know, do this confederacy that you're talking about that is presented, like say somebody you give the numbers and this confederacy. Is there, let me say this. Say the Moorish Science Temple of America say, nah, we right here in the Moorish village. This is our territory. We want to govern ourselves in the
Absolutely.
Moorish village.
Absolutely.
Does that remain independent of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Absolutely.
The Moorish nation, independent of itself, yet becoming a part of the greater whole to get this thing pushed.
Oh, absolutely. We have Cherokee, Washita that have land. We have different groups that have acquired land. We don't have any say-so of how they run their land or run their nation. They run it the way they do. The addition is that 1 to 2 members, and this is what we suggest, because you're in a hostile nation, we suggest that they be able to protect themselves. And confederations, and the first confederation was the Iroquois Confederation. It was a confederation of about 5 Indians. I don't want to call them Black Indians because the Indians are African. With this a proven fact. It's not conjecture. It's not hyperbole. They are African. I mean, that's the DNA, and that's what the evidence says that that the original population was African for at least 11,000 to 13,000 or so years before the Asian admixture. So,
Brother Ansari, let me bring other people to the chat real quick. But one last question, I want you to hit it real hard, hit it home for me, brother. Is there any people who that sits in a United Nation that represents us as a nation or a government, a Moorish American government, a United States of America Republic government? Is there anybody that sets in or is acknowledged as a constitutional nation that represents us? Is there anybody?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. Let me bring my brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, and then I bring let them get a piece of the conversation. My brother Ishmael Bayan. Brother Malik, are you there, my brother? I can't. Let me
I
see.
think his mic is still muted.
Yeah, he's gonna have to unmute himself. I can only mute him, but he
Oh,
unmuted himself. Okay, let me see.
let me see if I can unmute him. No, I can't unmute him.
Brother Malik, can you hear me?
He's there. I see him.
I can see him, but I can't hear him. But let me bring my brother Ishmael in while he try to work that out real quick. Brother Ishmael Bey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I, man, when I listen to Dr. Mustafa, brother Ansari, man, I'm telling you, the information that he has, I'm Moorish American to the bone. It is what it is.
Yes, sir.
I know we all Moors. It ain't changing, not for me.
Right.
However, the principle of a thing, it's like when I listen to the brother speak, it reminds me of when they say Islam always was, and Abraham was a Muslim, and Abraham was a prophet of Islam. Yet we know that the term Islam, for all intents and purposes, it really came into manifestation with Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him.
Right, it's an AD.
But Abraham was still a Muslim, and he still fall under the banner of Islam. When I hear Dr. Ansari, he's saying the exact same thing that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has told us,
right,
concerning nationality, concerning nation, concerning how we bring this thing, but he's putting it in his own terms. He's putting it in not his own terms. He's putting it in the terms that is accepted by the nation. So I'm gonna give my brother Ishmael. I come back to you. So what I'm saying is that, man, we gotta try to find a way that we can work together and bring this to fruition in some sort of way. Fashion. With that, let me give it to my brother Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Okay, what I want to say is all of the Moors who believe in self-government and believe in sovereignty, this is a good basis for us to start talking. That we are, whatever you've done, we encourage it. I wanted to try it. I keep trying to open this phone up so I can read you the dictionary. Give it to me again. It keeps closing and I can't open it. I'm going to read you the dictionary definition of Moor to show you why you shouldn't be held to the dictionary definition of Moor, and we don't want to be held to the Christian code or the black law dictionary of black. And I want to relate that to our current effort for self-determination to say that if you all believe in a Moorish government, I want to know, what is your definition of Moor? Is it Asiatics or all of us, or is it just a narrow group of those of you who believe in the prophet? But let me start with this. The definition of Moor, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, says one of the Arab and Berber conquerors of Spain. And number two, that Moor means Berber. Now I know that that is not the definition that the Moorish Science Temple and the Moors use. You do not use that limited definition and call yourselves one of the Arab and Berber conquerors of Spain. Am I right?
Indeed.
That's true. What is your definition of Moor?
What do you mean? The definition of Moor? I can give you the etymology of Moor. We have to deal. It would be better to deal with the etymology of Moor. The etymology, the beginning, the origin of the word Moor. It actually goes back to Kemet, and then it brings it all up to North Africa, where Mauritania normally first was, where Morocco is at. And so these were the Maori people in North Africa. When the Europeans came there, they were the Maori people. The difference is between Moor and black, both of them have negative connotations. The difference between the black connotation is that our people designed the science behind the term black. When you and it's not all bad all the time. When you look at black, you got the funeral god out of Kemet. You got Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, where white means good. These Europeans have taken our terms and used them against us. Maori is the term that is our term. where he flipped it inside out. Black is a term that has always, even in our ancient culture, signified death, darkness, and things of that nature. Even in our culture, not even in our own culture. When you look at go in Egypt,
we got to have a talk. These are the good subjects to discuss.
Yeah, but that's another topic to try to break down.
I only raised the subject to say that just as the Moor has the capacity to define and redefine. It says here the etymology of Moor means from the English Moor and from the Anglo-French and from the Latin root Maurus, an inhabitant of Mauritania. Okay?
Absolutely.
But the Moors who are listening have more broadly and deeply redefined that under their right to self-determination.
No, we never redefined it. The European redefined it and we reclaiming it. Let me go to Wikipedia real quick. Let me go to Wikipedia. The term Moors referring primarily, I'm just using Wiki because it was quick. The term Moors refer primarily to the Muslim inhabitants of Maghreb. Where is Maghreb? That's North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula. And then they begin to add Sicily, Malta, the Middle Ages. The term Moors referring primarily to, hold on. The Moors initially were Berbers. Who were the Berbers? They were the buried people of North Africa, of Maghreb. Where is Maghreb? Mauritania. They'll tell you the truth. The name was later applied to Arabs. Moors are not a distinct self-defined people. As I tell people, it is an ethnic term. Moorish is who we are. And 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica observed the term Moor has no real ethnological value. These are Europeans now, but check it out. The term is also been used in a broader sense, sometimes somewhat derogatory to refer, and that's when the Europeans begin to manipulate it. But the term refers to the inhabitants of Madrid. So we just reclaiming what is ours. That's all.
Okay. So let me say this. What you all have been seeking, which is a government strictly under the terms of the Moorish American government and the laws of the Prophet, we need to have some discussions. I want to know,
that's a different conversation.
Does that apply when y'all say Moor? I want to know this. Does that apply to every person who you say is an Asiatic, or just those that adhere to the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali? I mean, am I an Asiatic?